Hey there, folks, and welcome into another episode of our venture in the visual novel If My Heart Had Wings Flight Diary. In the last episode, there's still tension among Alvie and Kotori, unfortunately, to which Kotori has dropped the news that she will actually be held back a year to remain in the Soaring Club. And the reason she stated is because Alvie's not going to university with her after Alvie had shared he was going on an alternate path. And we had some talk about that, about how unrealistic that is. You don't give up your whole future just because your love interest is not exactly going on the exact same path as you. That's not how it works. Each of us have our own path in relations to our purpose. But that doesn't mean we cannot support each other, even though those paths are a bit different. So learn from that. But being in the Soaring Club was still a safe zone, as Kotori, as we know, tends to get a little hostile, and that might be an understatement at this point. But ultimately, the Soaring Club is still a safe zone for that. And the crew is practicing the acrobatics for the glider as a means to put on a little show, as the graduates-to-be will not be there for next year. But within that time, Aga had noticed something in the air as Kotori and Haruka were there. And let's find out exactly what that was. So with that, let us begin. What is it?
いや、なんか、
She passed me the binoculars. I looked through them at the glider Kotori was piloting. What is she doing?
なんか飛び方変だよね。あれもアクロバット飛行の練習？
No. I watched her flight, my chest full of foreboding. Looks to be flying normal right now.
わあ、高いっすね。やっぱ気持ちいいな。ねえ部長、部長たちは雲の上まで飛んだんですよね。ええ、そうよ。モーニンググローリーっていう雲の上を飛んだの。すごいっすね。今日はサーマルが弱くて、これ以上高く上がれそうにないわ。全然いいっす。ここでも十分っすよ。
Haruka looked up from the back seat. The clouds moved slowly through the air. Also, some stranger can ride farther. Shave a few fractions of a second off. All that work on each part, just for them. That's part of the race too. Race. And now that I can't ride, I think I could be part of the race that way. Was that always dream? I'm getting to suspect that this might be in the point of view of Kotori right now. The sky was so far away. Since when did the sky, the clouds, feel so far away? Once, Kotori had felt like if she just reached out her hand, she could touch them. She had climbed up and crossed the corridor of the clouds.
雲ってあんなに遠かったっけ？何か言いました？
The sky was getting further away every single day, Kotori thought.
部長、どうしたんすか？部長？
Higher. Beyond those clouds, thought Kotori. What are you doing, Kotori? You're going to stall!
ストール？
Oh boy. Everything stopped for a moment. The sound of the wind against the canopy stopped, and it was as if everything was suddenly in free fall. The wings lost their lift, and they were starting to fall. Why weren't you paying attention? Kotori shook at the anger in my voice. You were close to crashing! Kotori had stalled the glider. She had raised the nose too high. It was the kind of mistake she never should have made. And since her response was so late, it had taken forever to stabilize the glider. They had been flying fairly low because of the lack of thermals. If they'd gone into a spin, things would have gotten dangerous.
ごめん。
Don't apologize to me. Apologize to Haruka. She's the one that was in danger.
ごめんなさい、桐野さん。怖い思いをさせてしまって。私はいいっすよ。ちょっとドキドキしましたけど、別になんともなかったし。
She's shaken. Anyone would be in an experience like that. Kotori had been able to stabilize the glider, but their lives had been in danger. Yeah, you do that out here in the States, that's reckless endangerment. Kotori, you're done for today. Kotori looked down in misery, nodding weakly.
空を飛ぶのを嫌いにならないでね。ならないっすよ。やだな。
So, this is something that we can all learn from. If you have some serious issues in your life and it's causing you to lose focus, any heavy-duty activities should be put on hold if you can't set that aside. Because as we saw here, how quickly that could put somebody in danger, not just yourself, but somebody else. So if you got internal issues with yourself, you need to resolve them as soon as possible, but resolve them the right way, because you could be putting yourself or someone else in danger. Kotori stumbled over to the bench, still miserable. It was the end of the semester.
最後の夏休みだからってハメを外しすぎるなよ。過去に問題を起こして内定取り消しになったやつもいる。そんなことで5年間の苦労を無駄にするなよ。
Real talk.
それじゃ解散。
When homeroom ended, everyone leapt from their chairs. Summer vacation was now officially on, and you could feel the freedom in the air. Hey, Kotori. Kotori was sneaking out of the classroom trying to avoid me. I followed her out into the hallway and called after her. Kotori!
ほっといてよ。
She's probably angry that you yelled at her, but probably also she's still thinking about the big mess up that she did the other day. So it's probably a combination of the two. Kotori walked down the hallway alone with her cane, her voice sounding unhappy without its usual energy. After I got home, I dropped off my stuff and started some maintenance work at the dorm. I'd have to leave things to my successor after they took over as house mother during summer break. The new house mother was a regular girl. I wanted to take care of the harder work before she took over.
先輩、こっちこんなもんでいいっすか？
Oh yeah, thanks. Good work there, Harumi.
あ、いえ、こういうの得意ですから。
Harumi had come to help out. We'd actually planned our last club activity of the term for today. But since the club leader had skipped out, we'd had to postpone it.
部長大丈夫でしょうか
Yeah. They posted the results for our final test today. Although I guess she didn't fail intentionally like she said, Kotori's grades were still way down. She'd scored 50th place in the tests. Clearly that incident during her training flight just before the test had shaken her. It must have been a shock. She knew better than anyone the danger of accidents like that, and how scary flying could actually be. Ever since then, she'd been avoiding not only me, but also Aga and the other club members. This meant the club was now on break too. Of course, since we couldn't fly, there wasn't anything else to do.
こんにちは。
Hi, Artica. What's up?
お、水瀬先輩。それから中村さんも。
どうも
You think these two will become a couple? Harumi suddenly stood up very straight when he saw Haruka. What's the matter?
部長に会いに来たっす。
Oh, sorry. Kotori's not here.
そうなんすか？
She didn't come back after school. I guess she stopped somewhere on the way. I was worried, so I called her a few times, but predictably she didn't answer. That stuff with us fighting was mostly for show, but now I worried she really was hating herself. Do you need her for something?
この間のこと謝ろうと思って。
Wasn't your fault. But see, that's another thing, folks. When we make a huge mistake, the impact of it and the embarrassment is indeed can be overwhelming, but we cannot let that keep us down. We gotta keep going. Otherwise, we're just gonna stay in this loop of just repeating it in our heads over and over and over, and the guilt gets worse, and then we become stagnant in our progress in life. We can't do that to ourselves. We owe it to ourselves to move forward. Apologize? What for?
なんか私が乗ってたせいで部長が落ち込んじゃってるみたいだったから。
That's an internal problem that she has to resolve, but you can be there to help guide her through it. But it's not your fault. That's not it at all. She'd be depressed even if she'd been up there alone.
そうなんすか？
If I made that mistake, I'd crawl into a hole for days.
けどだからってなんで別れちゃうっすか？
What now? Who's breaking up?
学校で噂になってたっす。部長と水瀬先輩が別れたって。卒業前にはよくあることだってみんな言ってたっす。
Just hold on a minute. We are not breaking up.
そうなんすか？
Why is everyone saying that? Oh man, this is awkward. Someone had said the same thing to me in class. This was all just temporary. I was just waiting for the right time to make things up. But she was doing such a good job at avoiding me, I hadn't had the chance.
そうだったんすか。よかった。
Haruka looked deeply relieved.
部長と水瀬先輩がもしダメになっちゃったらってハラハラしてたっすよ。
Sorry about that. But I was not happy about those rumors.
2年の間でも噂になってましたよ
Really?
部長も水瀬先輩も目立ちますから
うちら下級生からしたらちょっとした芸能人みたいなものっすよ。
Oh, really? Well, I had to admit, Kotori was gorgeous, unlike me. Anyway, we haven't broken up, so don't get upset or anything.
わかりましたっす。
Okay then, I guess it's about time for lunch. Wanna join us, Haruka?
いいっすか？
Yeah. Right, Harumi?
あ、はい
Harumi gave me a look like, "Why are you bringing me into this?" and nodded. And so it was decided. The three of us were having lunch.
水瀬先輩の手料理美味しいって評判っすよね。
I've had lots of practice as house mother here. We took a break and had lunch together. After that, Harumi and Haruka helped out so all the dorm maintenance work was done by evening. After they both went home, I sat in my room working on my own stuff. Phew. Looks like I'm about done. I was packing my belongings into cardboard boxes. I didn't used to have so much stuff, but things had piled up over these 3 years. I think Aga left this here. There was a pile of manga by my bed. She had left them, insisting that they were interesting, and she had kept bringing one after another. They really were pretty good, I guess. I wasn't in the habit of buying manga myself, so every volume in my room had been left by someone else. And now I seemed to have a lot. Somehow, it made me feel a sense of history. This one was especially good. I instinctively grabbed one and started to reread it. No, stop! Don't get distracted! I've got to clean all this up. It would have to wait until I was done. All the furniture would stay in the room, so the only really big item was my bike. Not really enough to hire movers for. I'll just have to move it myself in shifts. It was a 15-minute walk to my house. I'd still be living here for a while, so I took the absolute minimum amount of clothes out of the box. It had been my room for 3 years. I felt sort of sentimental about it. It was mostly just a place to study and sleep, but still. Most of my memories of Flying Fish Manor were from the dining hall. When I'd first come, none of the residents would eat my cooking, so I had to try all kinds of ideas. Then I made dinner for Kotori every day, and little by little, I learned to cook for all the other girls. Everyone would go there for meals, talking and laughing, and when the Soaring Club was shut down, we had even used the hall for a meeting. I'd always return to this room really late during those busy days. But I appreciate it. I hadn't spent much time alone here because it was more fun to be with everyone else. Being house mother was hard work, but it was fun too. Doesn't look like I'm forgetting anything. I was looking through the empty desk drawers, and suddenly I felt so sad. I'd never put my stuff in there again. Filled with emotion, I kept looking for anything I'd left behind. Huh? What's this? And let's find out what it is that he found on the next episode. Gotta keep it up with those cliffhangers. But anyways, once again, sometimes when we make really big mistakes, we can get very, very sad. We can become self-hating, and we can just feel so guilty that we feel like we might not be able to recover from it. But life is full of lessons, and some of those lessons may have a high impact, but we are still capable of recovering. So if you make a big mistake, own up to it, pursue the correction, and you keep moving forward. And if people keep to try to hold that over your head, rebuke them. And folks, if you're doing that, if you're holding things over people's heads when they're trying to correct it, you're part of the problem. You're in a state of mind where you just want to be right. But you don't have to stay there either. You can turn that around also. But there will come a time where you make a big mistake. And I'll bet you do not want to be constantly condemned of that mistake repetitiously. So own up to it, make the corrections, and move forward. That's all we can do. Now, there are some cases where people make some mistakes that may violate the trust at that point. And there may be that you might not be able to associate yourself with that individual anymore. You might not be able to socialize around them anymore. I get it. Sometimes that does happen where the trust is not there for you to be able to socialize with them anymore after that mistake is made. But don't put yourself in a position either where you constantly hold something over someone's head that now you become stagnant. Not just the other person, but you as well. Rise above that. Move forward. So whether you are able to socialize or you're not, do not become stagnant. Move forward. Whatever corrections need to be made, correct them and move forward. And with that, thank you everyone for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, maybe consider leaving a like. And if you'd like to see more, and if you have not already, maybe consider subscribing and also activate notifications so you can be informed of the next productions to be released. And until next time, happy mixing, everyone.